So this week, you sent over something pretty interesting. That article by Bernard Marr. It really dives into, well, the dark side of all this technology, right? Specifically, something I think we hear about more and more, this whole digital impersonation thing. And it's scary stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mark really hits the nail on the head when he talks about how big of a problem this is becoming. I mean, it's not just a few isolated incidents here and there. Digital impersonation is, well, it's a serious and growing threat, and it's spreading like wildfire across the internet, especially on social media.
Right. It seems like every other day there's a new story about someone getting scammed or, having their identity stolen. And the FBI's numbers back that up. They say global losses from these impersonation attacks are over $5.3 billion. Billion with a B.
It's a staggering amount, isn't it? And I think it highlights just how sophisticated these scammers have become. They're not just creating simple fake profiles anymore. They're crafting these elaborate digital identities that are designed to fool even the most cautious among us.
Hmm.
And, as our lives become increasingly intertwined with the digital world, I mean, we're always online these days, so it's even more important to be aware of these threats.
Absolutely. We need to be smart about how we protect ourselves online. So let's break this down. Like, how does the social media impersonation actually work? Moore talks about how cybercriminals basically steal your digital footprint. They're taking your name, your photos, your location, even details about your past, and using it all to create these super convincing fake profiles.
Yeah, it's like they're building a digital copycat version of you, a digital twin, but with bad intentions. And what's even more disturbing is the motivation behind these fake accounts. Marr outlines a few key reasons why they do this, and the first one is phishing. They use these fake profiles to trick people into giving them money, passwords, or personal information. It's the same old con, but with a 21st century twist.
Like, I get an email from what looks like my bank or maybe even a friend asking for some sensitive info, and I click without thinking.
Exactly. And before you know it, you've been had. And it's not just about financial gain either. They use these fake accounts to spread malicious links too. You click on what looks like a harmless link and bam, your device is infected with malware or there's stealing your login details. And, there's the whole catfishing thing.
Catfishing.
Yeah, where they create these fake profiles to start relationships online. It preys on people looking for connection and, well, it often leads to some serious emotional and financial damage.
Wow. So how can we spot these fake accounts? What are some things to look out for?
Marr actually gives some really practical tips here. One thing he points out is to look at the age of the account. If it's a very new account with only a handful of friends or followers, that's definitely a red flag. Like, why would someone you supposedly know have just created a profile with no online history?
So a brand new profile pops up, and that's kind of a warning sign, right? Got it.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
It's not a foolproof method, but it's definitely something to watch out for. Another thing Marr mentions is to pay attention to any messages that seem off, especially if they contain suspicious links. Those ones that are like, click here for a free iPhone or something that just sounds too good to be true.
Oh, yeah, those are the worst.
And always check the details. Look for spelling errors in the account name, the URL, the messages, anything like that. Legitimate organizations and people you actually know generally take the time to make sure their online communication is, well, grammatically correct.
So basically, be extra careful who you connect with online and what you click on. But is there anything else we can do to protect ourselves?
Definitely. Marr has a bunch of recommendations for that too. First and foremost, be very cautious about accepting new friend or follower requests, especially from people you don't know well in real life. And try to avoid sharing too much personal information or photos publicly on your profile. The less info they have, the harder it is to create a convincing fake version of you.
Right, makes sense. So lock down those privacy settings. Anything else?
Absolutely never, and I mean never, send money to someone who requests it online. Doesn't matter how convincing their story is or how desperate they seem. If it's someone you truly know and trust, they'll find another way to reach you. And if you click on a link and end up on a website that looks even the slightest bit suspicious, get out of there as fast as you can. Don't risk it.
Better safe than sorry, you're right.
Exactly. And here's another tip from Marr. Be mindful of the smaller details you share, like the names of your kids or pets. Those seemingly harmless bits of information can actually make a fake account appear more authentic to your friends and family.
Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought about that. Okay, so we're being super careful online, but what if we're already worried that someone might be impersonating us? Is there anything we can do?
Well, Marr suggests a couple of proactive steps. First, do a regular online search for your own name. It sounds simple, but it can help you find any unauthorized profiles or websites using your information. And there's reverse image search. That's a really helpful tool for checking if your photos are popping up online without your consent.
That's great advice. So we've covered a lot about social media, but Moore also touches on this new frontier, the metaverse, and how digital impersonation is showing up there too. It seems like this is just adding another layer of complexity to this whole thing.
It definitely is. I mean, think about the metaverse as a bunch of these online virtual worlds, right? And in these worlds, you interact with people using these digital versions of yourselves called avatars. And it's still pretty new, but it brings with it a whole new set of risks.
Right, because it's not just about seeing a fake profile anymore. Now you could be interacting with what you think is a friend or colleague, but it's actually a hacker controlling their avatar.
Exactly. They could be using that avatar to ask your friends for sensitive information or even try to trick them into sending money. And because it's such an immersive environment, it could be even more convincing and potentially even more damaging. Like you might not even realize you're talking to an imposter until it's too late.
That's a pretty unsettling thought.
It really is. And honestly, we're probably only going to see more of this type of impersonation as the metaverse grows and becomes more mainstream. I think it's going to be crucial for everyone to learn how to spot these scams in these virtual worlds.
So we're going to need a whole new set of skills to navigate this brave new world safely.
Absolutely. User education is going to be key. The visual and interactive nature of the metaverse means we might need different strategies for detecting fake activity compared to, say, traditional social media.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the how of digital impersonation, but what about the why? Like, why are we so vulnerable to these scams in the first place?
Well, I think Marr really gets to the heart of it when he talks about human nature. As humans, we're wired to trust others, especially the people in our online networks. And we also crave connection. Those are basic human needs. And cybercriminals are really good at exploiting those needs.
And I think the sheer volume of stuff we see online every day plays a role too. We're constantly scrolling, clicking, liking, sharing. It's easy to let our guard down when we're bombarded with so much information all the time.
That's a really good point. It can be tough to slow down and really think critically about what we're seeing and clicking on. We're just so used to consuming content at such a rapid pace.
So what's being done to combat this problem? I mean, is there any hope?
Well, the good news is that Marr does point out that there are people working on solutions. You've got researchers, cybersecurity experts, law enforcement, legal professionals. They're all trying to figure out ways to address this issue.
So it sounds like it's going to take a village to fight this thing.
It will. And I think the most important thing for all of us right now is to focus on developing our own digital threat awareness. We need to be proactive about protecting ourselves because that's our first line of defense.
So to sum it all up, digital impersonation is a major problem, and it's not going away anytime soon. It's costing people billions of dollars, and it's probably going to become even trickier as technology like the metaverse evolves. We need to be super vigilant, learn how to spot the warning signs, and take steps to protect ourselves online.
Absolutely. I think the key takeaway here is that we can't just assume we're safe online anymore. We need to be informed and we need to be proactive. Knowledge is power, right? The more we understand about these threats, the better equipped we are to protect ourselves.
Well said. This deep dive into Marr's work has been eye-opening. It makes you think about how we balance the benefits of being connected online with the risks that come with it. As our digital world becomes even more immersive and lifelike, how do we stay connected without putting ourselves in danger? That's something we all need to think about. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me. It's been a great discussion.